Hello, Scott Granley here from Cars Youth Center. Just really excited. This is our first guest here, Shanda Burr, and she's going to share some things about her ministry. I want to thank you for tuning in, and so just want to know, how long have you been in the ministry that you're in now?
Well, let me do a quick introduction.
Oh, sure.
So yes, like you said, I'm Shanda Burr. I currently work with Muskegon Pregnancy Services. It's a non-profit crisis pregnancy center in Muskegon. We are actually celebrating our 40th birthday, so we are the only crisis pregnancy center in Oceana and Muskegon County, and we've been here for the past 40 years. I work as their education coordinator, so I run their Best Options program. So what we do is preventative education in the community. Mm-hmm. So I have a certification, national certification, to go in and teach in different places. So I'll be excited to tell you about that. Yeah. How long have I been doing this? I've been doing this a little over 3 years. I came on board in March of 2022. So really excited to share some of the things that I have to offer to the community. It's been a little challenging post-COVID. There was a predecessor in my place, just with schools closing down and things like that. We had some virtual options, but we're just trying to get things back moving and get some more expanded options for our youth.
Yeah. And then what led you to this ministry?
Okay, so it's kind of a long story, but I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years and ran daycare because I have 4 children myself, ranging now from ages 18 to 12. And when my youngest one went back to school, the thought was, I'll just go back to work. Well, then I realized that with so many activities that kids are involved in, it was going to be very hard to do just a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So I started working for someone in the community, and I was nannying for a family of 5. This was working out great. I felt like this is where God wanted me. I was going to take over running this office for a local business, and then God had other plans. My boss ended up with a terminal kidney cancer diagnosis, and when his sons came in to take over the business, it wasn't as good of a fit. There wasn't as much flexibility. What used to be kind of 20 to 25 hours a week turned into just 6, and so I really had this toddler moment where I was mad at God because I thought that what he had in store and what was all lined up was falling apart. And so I took a couple of months and lamented. And then I called my mom one day and said, I just don't know what to do. I had interviewed for a couple of work-at-home positions, but there was lots of talk about, pronouns and all these kind of things. And I just didn't feel like I wanted to pour my heart into a place or even my time into a place that didn't have the same faith base. So she said to me, why don't you call the Muskegon Rescue Mission or Muskegon Pregnancy Services and just see what they have available? So I got on the phone and I talked to the executive director at Muskegon Pregnancy Services, giving her some of the same background I gave you. I do have a bachelor's degree in health sciences. So I do have some medical background. And she laughed at me on the phone because she said, my education coordinator just put in her 2-week notice.
Wow.
So I went to talk to her, and even though if you would have told me 3.5 years ago that I was going into schools and youth groups talking about sex and all the stuff that we get to talk about, I would have said, you are crazy. But God knows, because I honestly really enjoy it. I have a heart for the students, and it's been a huge blessing.
Yeah, you kind of answered it in there in that question, but do you think your ministry, how can it really help in the area, and then maybe with the churches, with the youth pastors, how do you feel like that would this ministry would impact into the setting?
So ultimately, the curriculum that I teach, like I said, is it's willing to wait. It's an abstinence-based program. I do have curriculum that allows me to go into public schools, so it's specifically scientifically based, but then they also have a Christian addendum. It's amazing how when we look at what works in science happens to be the way God created and wanted us to be all along.
Yes, right.
So I'm excited because really my goal is to just teach students optimal health and future thinking. So I'm excited to connect with some youth pastors to get into schools, maybe do some parenting classes, and obviously some youth group stuff as well. Yeah. So I have had a couple of youth groups that have gone really well. So I'm just looking to expand and offer my services, again, free of charge. So we're just a local community resource.
And so the material, is it something online or is it something that you would bring? Do you have any material that the youth pastors that are coming to this meeting, would you have anything for them?
Yes, so I have a binder that you can look over every single thing that we cover in each of the lessons, including all of the studies based behind it. And then I have, like I said, opportunity with that Christian school addendum. So I currently teach at Fruitport Middle School, I teach at West Michigan Christian Middle School and High School. So what that looks like there is I go in and teach the curriculum just like I would in a regular public school. And then we go biblical backup. Lots of biblical
awesome.
readings, lots of talk about, this is the way God created us. So yes, I will have a binder available. I can have samples of what we have, what I use in schools, which is a student handbook and a parent handbook. And then I'll have some handouts as well that I think are really important. In fact, I did bring some examples. This one is 15 apps that parents should know about.
Oh, that'd be very good.
Yes. This one is comparing different types of sex education. So just breaking down the difference between sexual risk reduction and sexual risk avoidance. And then, just kind of some basic information for you as parents and youth leaders to get to know what is SRA.
Yeah.
So I will have all of those available, and then not to mention, you can go to their website and you can look at their Willing to Wait curriculum. They have samples of it all there. So that's an opportunity as well.
Anything that we can be praying for you for the community or youth pastors or anything that we can be praying for you?
Yes. So we are always in need of volunteers. I would love to have some more people who have a heart for youth come in and do the training. It's just a 2-day training, and then they could come in and teach. We require 2 teachers in the classroom at all times when we're in with the students. So, so definitely in need of volunteers if anybody has a heart for that. The time commitment is not huge. I just kind of get a hold of my volunteers and say, these are the dates I'm teaching. What dates might you be available? It's a 3-hour, maybe 4-hour block of time. So that's always in need. And then be in prayer just that schools and churches would be open to hearing about the curriculum so that we could come in and share.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so is there any story that has impacted you that you've been in with your ministry? Is there something that kind of stands out? And I know we can't give maybe names or anything, but just maybe something that impacted you, or that you have a story that you guys have impacted through your ministry.
Yes. So the one that came to mind when I thought about that was there was a student who was very actively, a middle school student at the public school, who was very actively engaged, answering lots of questions, volunteering to do part of the activities. Because again, this curriculum isn't just me standing up in front and talking. We have the kids get active. They do different activities and games. She came up to me after the final day of the 7th lesson, and she said, I just want you to know that I'm definitely going to use some of those building blocks of healthy relationships that you talked about, and the 5 love languages in my relationship with my significant other. So even though at that time I thought, you're 7th grade, that's a little young to be.
Yeah, right.
But the fact that she gleaned that information off of the curriculum was amazing. So yeah.
And then is there, not to go over all the curriculum, all the things that you'll be sharing on Tuesday night with us, but is there some bullet points so that some people would know what you're going to be talking about? Just kind of share a couple things.
Sure. Yeah. So my plan is to be as transparent as possible with the curriculum. That's something that both Willing to Wait and Best Options and Muskegon Pregnancy Services feel very strongly about, which is why we give parent handbooks out ahead of time. We don't want anybody to ever wonder, oh, my kid's having sex ed in school, I wonder what they're going to be talking about. So this gives them full transparency. So I will have lots of that. I will have some statistics that I'm sure will be quite alarming. And then also information on how to get started in a school. So each school, especially if it's a public school, has to have, per the state of Michigan law, a sex education advisory board. That board is the one that looks over the curriculum, finds what might fit the community members the best, and then they take that to the school board. But yeah, youth groups as well. I would love to see just either whether it be just a one-night guest speaker or have me come for 8 weeks in a row, do the full curriculum, or even something like a youth retreat or something like that. So that would be really cool.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming out here and taking the time to be able to share. For those of you that are going to come out, it is Tuesday, 6:30 at Grace Adventures, and then you'll be able to hear a lot more about what you have. And just again, thank you so much for coming out and being able to share your heart. And I do hope that we have some of our youth leaders come out, and then those that are just watching this, hopefully some of the youth leaders will grab this, and then you'll see this ministry inside your church. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome.
It didn't stop.
Well, yeah.